For more than 30 years, David Bowie has been challenging the limits of artistic expression. He first made his mark in the 1970s with the flamboyant, surreal stage persona, Ziggy Stardust. In the 80s, he ascended to superstardom with enormously successful commercial albums, particularly 1983's Let's Dance. He's known as an innovator, a creative artist blending the worlds of music and film and art. Last year, he ventured into publishing with the launch of 21, an independent art publishing house. I am pleased to have him here to talk about a life in music, in film, and now in publishing and art. Welcome. It's great to see you.
Good evening, Charlie.
Well, it's nice to have you back.
Follow that.
Can we do this without Julian? I suspect we can, can't we?
We're never doing it without Julian. Julian will always be there in spirit.
All right. Let me go all the way back, because I want to move sort of where you have come to, being what you're doing today. South London, yes?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, just tell me about where you wanted to be and what it was that influenced you and what it was that got you started.
When I was at school, I was in an art stream, and I guess everything was geared for me to be an artist, a visual artist, and a painter, and or a commercial artist. And I think for about the first 6 months when I left school, I was a commercial artist, making money that way, but I was playing saxophone in the evenings. Right. With rhythm and blues bands. And I found that I didn't like doing designer work for sort of raincoats and slimming biscuits. Yes. A now defunct slimming biscuit, actually, that we worked on called AIDS.
Called what?
It was called AIDS.
Yeah.
That was the slimming biscuit that we were working on. That is no more, of course. And I found that I was earning as much money playing the saxophone in the evening, and it was giving me a lot more pleasure because I was my own master of that. And so I gave up the commercial art and stayed with the saxophone.
It went from one
thing
to another.
Led to another. Yeah.
Well, rather over a period of time there in the 60s. But Presley influenced you? Little Richard influenced you?
Little Richard, very much so. Presley, because I think he was just such an indomitable spirit of music in his early days. And it was reckless, and it was really quite a rebellion that he cast upon America and the whole of Western society, really, single-handedly. The White West, anyway. Yeah. Little Richard and Fats Domino, of course, the early rockers, and then into things like John Lee Hooker, and also by the 60s, I fell in love with a band called the Velvet Underground, and I think they sort of sorted me out the kind of music that I wanted to write. Not really like them, but I took the tip from them. Yeah. Anyway.
You were going from one band to another. I mean, I've never seen such a list of bands that you were associated with.
Yeah. A weaker band, yeah.
A weaker band?
Yeah.
Yeah. All going to do what? I mean, just to be a musician and to...
Yeah, I couldn't make... I mean, I wasn't very resolute about the idea of being a singer. I played saxophone. I wanted to do that, but a singer was beaten up one night, and so I took over the vocals, and it went down okay, and so I stayed on as singer, and then I got disenchanted with the songs that we were doing. I wanted us to write our own, and they didn't want to write songs. So I got thrown out the band, and then, you know, it was all those kinds of changes.
When was
it was fairly sort of, it was really, that's a pretty stereotypical beginnings for any person out of England, I think.
How did this...
But the interesting thing is the percentage of people in rock music that in fact have some kind of art background compared to American bands. A lot of American bands often come from a different kind of background. It's very often a blue-collar kind of background.
Right.
And it was, and they're probably brought up in more industrial towns, and they're...
Like Springsteen in New Jersey.
It's a typical example. I think in Britain there was really a penchant for anybody studying... Oh, you went to art school to learn how to play the guitar better, it seems to me. And so many of us ended up in rock bands. And I think that gave English rock its kind of character. It gave it the strange quirkiness that it has. I mean... For sure, mine draws on not just rock, but vaudeville and avant-garde. You know, it can wear a red nose and sort of take its clothes off at the same time.
This notion of you as an iconoclast, this sense of always striking out to sort of, as we say, push the edges of the envelope. Where does that come from?
I'm not sure if it's iconoclastic. I think my ideal more is a synthesis. Rather than anything else. I quite have always liked the idea of the cybernetics of our culture, the way that you can draw several strands together and create a new thing. I hope and believe that it's that what I do is more of a creative thing in that way. That I think it's fine to draw from opera or from the visual arts, from the underground, from mainstream, and just produce a new blend, which is probably a more complete way of describing the way that we live, and creating a sense of the cultural spin by amalgamating all these different threads. That's what I think anyway.
Well, one of
that's it, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
One of the things that people have always said about you is you keep an eye on what's going on with what is new.
I can't take my eyes off them. I've got an incredible appetite for what we do and how we do it and how we express it. And ever since I was a kid, I always want to know what's out there. I've always wanted to know what's happening.
Do you think of yourself first as a musician?
I mean, no, actually, I find that the idea of having to say that I'm a musician in any way is an embarrassment to me, because I don't really believe that. I've always felt that what I do is I use music for my way of expression. I don't believe I'm very accomplished at it. And I give a little sigh of relief every time that I come up with something which sounds whole and complete and sort of functions as a piece of music. I mean, sort of... fortunately, it does seem to be there all the time. I never seem to go dry when it comes to writing music, but I don't feel like a musician.
Because you don't feel that you have that talent?
Because probably I don't really take myself seriously enough as a musician at all. I'm far too interested, probably too interested for my own good, but I'm far more interested in the blending of different things. And I just can't, I have the attention span of a grasshopper, which means that it's very difficult for me to become a craftsman. I suppose that I'm quite promiscuous and a jack of all trades, artistically, of course, you know. Monogamy and me are like this. You've got to understand this, Charlie. You know, life's changed. It's moved along. We've reached a plateau of maturity. I've changed.
We behave, don't we?
Oh, yeah, we do.
What's the...
We know a good thing when we see one.
Yes, we do. We certainly do.
Funny how life changes, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
We're synthesizers, though, aren't we?
We were. Boy, did I synthesize in my time.
Yes, you certainly did. But you don't regret any of it. You don't regret any of it.
I don't actually regret. I don't regret a thing.
One lives one's life so that one can
several times.
So that one can become whatever one is destined to be.
One wakes up at night sweating.
And one has to travel the road and stop wherever life leads him.
Many of mine were cul-de-sacs, but I understand you got a suit like this, John.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Do you have one like this?
Exactly like that.
Exactly,
yeah.
Like when you go see your banker.
Yeah, I wore it in the hunger.
Did I see something the other day where you were worth like $800 million? $900
million.
$900 it
yes.
was. Is that true?
I'm waiting for the check. It's the most...
Everybody who knows you is
everybody
is digging up in your backyard saying, where is he keeping it?
Had so many new friendships since that article appeared. I can't tell you. I feel so beloved everywhere I go. It's absolute garbage. Complete and utter crap.
Okay, 800 million.
Absolutely nowhere near that.
Yeah.
No, I have no idea where they pull that figure from. It's just incredible.
But have you been good at taking money that you...
very good, but I'm not
taking money
not
that
good
you
enough
had
to earn 900 million.
Not that good.
Not that
good. Movies. A long series of movies.
Yes, I've enjoyed doing the movie.
But you don't think of yourself as an actor either.
No, not really. In fact, no, not at all. And I guess it's a vanity that when you are offered a part, if it's with a director that you have a real interest in, or you feel has a new spin on things, it's very tempting to accept the role. And this year I just did another piece with an independent company. A new director, a brand new director. It's his first film. Nearly everybody involved in the thing is brand new, and the star of it is a musician in Britain that I got a lot of respect for called Goldie, and he's sort of really the godfather of a new kind of music that's come out of England over the last 10 years called drum and bass. And this is his first role, and it really tells the story of gang life in Liverpool, and in particular, I guess the mixed race gangs and the triad, as there's some kind of conflict there. And it's an extraordinary venture, and so far it looks to be a really great film. I think it's going to make quite a noise when it comes out. It's an excellent piece of work. I had no idea. Goldie asked me if I would do it with him, and I had no idea what to expect, and I just wanted to do it because I liked him and all the guys that he was sort of with, and it's just turned out to be a treat. That's called Everybody Loves Sunshine.
But you have in fact said that the only movies you do are those in which you like the director and you want to do
There's got to be something in there that I really feel that I have strong empathy with, you know. And of course, you know about me and SKs and, you know, yes. The military and all that.
What is it you think you do best?
You know what? I think I would love to have been, I would love to have been like Sting and been a teacher. I really would have liked to have done that. What really sort of gets me off is to be able to introduce people to new things. I love the feeling of introducing a new subject or something, especially to younger people, that maybe excites them and gets them going on something and it influences them to do something, you know, opening up some kind of world. I love taking people to art galleries and really corny things like that. I love going to museums with them as well. And it's a joy that I've always had with my son especially. It's been just terrific to be able to do that. Take him to the theatre 1 week maybe, and then take him to a dance club or a rock show and then an art museum and all these different things. And it's just great to see how somebody else takes these same influences and puts them together their own way. Because I remember when people did that for me, I always felt it was a gift when anybody took me anywhere and or showed me a new way of doing things. I always felt that that was the greatest gift that they could give to me, and I love doing that back. I love showing people things like that. And I've got a website called bowieart.com. Right. At the moment, it's quite a vanity box because it's all my stuff. But we do have quite a bit of information on the books with the publishing company.
All right, we'll get to that in just a moment. Let me
but also, no, my point is that in about 2 or 3 weeks we're going to start putting on new artists. Artists that I believe are very good and really have something to say. And we're also opening it up more as an e-zine with a lot more articles. And I'm going to encourage the people that are using the site to contribute their ideas and maybe galleries or artists and work that they've seen and have them write in and tell us about it. I want to also get to a place where we can have them download work by artists from this site and interfere with it, manipulate it and put it back up again, which I think is a really nice interactive thing to do. Is to mess with an artist's work is, I think, great.
Well, I have a magazine here. One of the things that you do for modern painters is you interview artists.
Yeah. I enjoy that
Jeff
tremendously.
Koons and others.
And I try and make it a deal for myself not to interview anybody that I really don't feel is somebody who has some place or position in my heart as being a pretty good...
It's not somebody you like or curious about.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm a so-called celebrity interviewer, I kind of rather take advantage of that and just go for the people that I really want to interview. It's not a job in that way, you know, go and interview him or her, whatever. I kind of suggest the people.
You go where your curiosity takes you.
Yeah, well, if you got it, use it. You know.